Hello, this is Rick
And Sue,
from Bike Fitness Coaching, and we have a very unique video for you today. A little while ago, we successfully completed one of our 3-day online bike fitting education courses. We thoroughly enjoyed having every student in the class. Their enthusiasm for cycling and their willingness to participate in class discussions were instrumental in making the course a successful experience for all participants.
we believe that creating this video for our past students to share their course and bike fitting experiences will be very helpful to individuals who are currently considering taking our virtual bike fitting course. We appreciate our students' willingness to be interviewed to create this video.
So following are here of our 4 recent students that graduated our virtual bike fitting course. Good afternoon again. This is Rick and Sue from Bike Fitness Coaching, and we're here with one of our previous students, Lindsay. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Lindsay Petruk, and I am living in Fitting in Little Rock, Arkansas.
And what's your professional background when you took or before you took the course? And what made you decide to take a bike fitting course?
I took the course about 3 years ago, and at that time, I was a yoga teacher. That's as far as professionally is concerned. That's what I was doing at the time, and also some other group fitness classes, teaching other group fitness classes. And I was on a women's racing team here in Little Rock, and also was a competitive 5K runner for about 10 years. And I actually developed a knee injury from running, and I went to a physical therapist, and he recommended that I go get a bike fit. And so I had to travel 3 hours to Northwest Arkansas to find a bike fitter, because we are few and far between here. And in hindsight, he was a mediocre fitter, but the little bit that he did absolutely changed my positioning and my ability to put down power. And I was feeling so much better in my body that I immediately was interested in what bike fitting can do for people. And I sought out to receive an education so that I could help people in that way here.
Oh, great! That's yeah. So it was fun to have you in the class. If I remember, it was a pretty big class when we were in there, like six or
Mhm.
seven students. Sue.
Yeah, no, that's interesting to me that you evolved from a fitness instructor, and then your personal experience with cycling was
Right.
instrumental in having you choose. And from my perspective, I'm happy that you've the fit, even though maybe it wasn't perfect based on what you know now, did help you. There are circumstances where sometimes that experience isn't there. And so
Right.
I'm glad that that person prompted you to go forward. We had in the course a background material that you were provided that basically was designed to provide every participant in the class similar footing in terms of their information about bicycle mechanical parts, as
Right.
well as the basics of some of the anatomy that's directly involved in cycling. And we wanted to know whether you found that packet important in terms of your understanding of the course material when the course really started.
I found that incredibly helpful. Anatomically, because there were a few other students in that, several other students in that class, it put us all on the same page, right?
Yeah,
Anatomically, because we all had different backgrounds. So when we started, it felt more cohesive.
yeah, that's good.
Um, what I really appreciated to this day about it was all of the recommended tools that you have on hand. So I was never caught with, I don't have that tool. I went out and got everything that you said to get, and I still have those tools to this day. And because a bike is very intimidating. There's so many parts, and the languaging is intimidating. And so all of that information that you gave in that packet before the class started helped me to feel prepared and armed with the information that I needed to complete the course.
That's great. That's great. That's what it's for, to get everybody on the same level. So when we start on that Friday, we hit the ground running. And
Hmm.
I kind of thought initially when we put that together was, hey, we got physical therapists that know all about anatomy and kinesiology and biomechanics, but they don't know which end of the screwdriver to use. And then we got the bike mechanics that know
Hmm.
all about changing out a crank, changing out bottom bracket bearings, rebuilding wheels, but they don't know the first thing about what the pivot points are and etc. So we put that together to basically get everybody on the same level when we start the course. Um, Overall, general, what were your thoughts on the class? Did it help you meet your goals in bike fitting?
It definitely did. I knew nothing about bike fitting prior to taking the course. I didn't know about the fitting methodology, the order of approach when we're doing a bike fit. I didn't know about angles, about knee over pedal. I knew none of that stuff, and I learned everything in that course, to be able to feel competent doing my first fit. Um,
Why don't you take us through that first fit that you did after the class?
Gosh, if I can remember. Of course, I think it was my friend Krissa, a good girlfriend of mine, who, I let her know ahead of time that she was kind of my guinea pig, if you will. Because and I look back on that now, and I've made so much progress as a fitter, but would never have been able to do that if not armed with that initial information that I received in the course, that education. But just like anything in life, you learn by doing, and I actually learn the most when I make a mistake.
Yep.
When I'm doing a fitting and I make an error, oh, I won't do that again, or that didn't work. I'm gonna sure remember that for next time. So the first fit, it was probably really messy. If I could watch it, I might be a little bit horrified knowing what I know today. But again, the only way to something is through something. And it was not for a lack of education and preparedness provided by your course. It was just,
The first
the
one.
first,
Chance.
yeah, just the first one is going to be what it
On your own,
is.
first one on your
Yeah.
own. Yeah. So we do try to. So here's kind of a question. We do try to teach a process. Do this first. Do this second.
Mhm.
Do this third. A lot of students on the first fit, they get a little confused, and I'd say just go back a step, kind of reset yourself, and then continue forward. So going from that process that we've put together, and again, we stress these are the basics to get you through a fit. You will, depending on what type of fitting you do. Some people do only time trial bikes or TT bikes. Some people do basically all mountain bikes. So they modify the process as they get more confident in that process to make it their own. What if things have you added or changed or modified to make it your own in the last several years?
I fit mainly road bikes. The intake form
Okay.
while I was given a recommended way to do the intake. I have found that that has evolved.
Okay.
There were some parts of the intake form that I didn't really find I needed to touch base with people about, and then there were other things that I added. Um, uh,
I mean, that really says a lot because if you really understand the process and understand fitting, you're now able to take things out that really don't apply or add things as the way you're doing business. So that's exactly what we are trying to help the students with. Exactly. That's perfect.
and I'll tell you one thing that I really lean into. That has evolved over the years is as with my background as a yoga teacher in this past few years I became certified as a personal trainer so that I
Oh,
could
nice.
prescribe exercises if I
Perfect.
saw or talked to some clients that wanted to do some corrective or strengthening exercises, and I'm also a Pilates teacher. So anyway, all of that to say that I'm finding that I can fit somebody perfectly, but if they don't know how to hold their body, if they don't know
Yeah.
how to ride a bike, we're still missing a huge component of a good fit. So a lot of my time is spent not just moving the bike parts around for the person's body, but it's talking to them and teaching them how to properly hold themselves on a bike. I teach them about pedaling dynamics, where the power portion of the pedal stroke is, what the different muscles are doing. And so my fits are very thorough, and I believe the people leave there feeling a new sense of ownership, not just in the bike fit, but in their ability to ride it.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I think Sue will agree that you're giving value added. You're not only doing the bike fitting, but you're actually showing them how to sit on the bike, how to pedal correctly, and doing. Sue, what do you think?
Yeah, no, it's the will sometimes. I mean, I you can talk to them about certain things, but one of the most common weaknesses that we see in cyclists is their core, and
Mhm.
you can tell at core and flexibility, and so we don't go crazy about, oh, you need to start doing all of these core exercises to get all of these abdominal muscles strengthened in any specific way, but it does impact. We say to them, if you're going to go after a more aggressive position on the bike, or if you're interested in racing, or you want to do certain things, it will require you to work on some physical fitness issues outside of cycling. And I think that message is getting out there in various ways on YouTube and looking at trainers and that kind of thing. But I always find it's really hard to convince people to work on it because it's not that pleasant.
Mhm.
Um, but it is important. And so that sort of leads me to one last question I have for you is you were a higher level road cyclist racer. And so I was wondering if you categorize the clientele you work with, is it spread across the whole gamut from like really, I wouldn't say beginner, but beginner cyclist all the way up to semi-pro or that kind of level? And if you do you approach the fits for those individuals differently?
Good question.
Yeah, I absolutely approach them differently. I would say that maybe 70% of my clientele is the newer cyclist, the
Uh-huh.
endurance cyclist who just wants to get more comfortable on the
Right,
bike. They
right.
come in because something is hurting. I have done several fittings with higher level cyclists, like you said, semi pro. Some guys that do some local racing here. And so on my intake form, of course, and I can visually assess an individual when they come in. But my first question is, what are your goals for this fitting? How do you want to ride your bike? What are you wanting to do? And that way I know what direction we need to be going in the fitting. What, because the angles are going to be different. um, the fit is going to be different based on their response to that question.
And do you ever,
So,
if they are interested in racing and they come in and they're not, you can tell that they're not quite to that point, or there's a range where they can improve.
mhm.
Have you had these individuals work on certain things and then come back? In other words, they might want to be more aggressive. Sometimes these individuals see photographs of racers and they go, I want that. And you kind of in your mind go, oh, that's not going to work so well for you right now.
Right,
So that
right.
sort of continuum of support, does anyone take you up on that kind of thing, or do you offer that?
I definitely offer that. I watch them pedal, of course, and in the physical assessment that I do, I'm very communicative. If I see restriction that is not going to allow them to get into a position that they're expressing they want to get into, I let them know
Yeah.
this is not gonna, we can't do this right now today until you work on these things. And I say that very lovingly, of course. But and you can lead a horse to water,
I
as you
know.
know, but can't make him drink. So I have had multiple people come back to me with new bikes that they have purchased. If they have multiple bikes, they'll bring in another bike that they own. So I've had a lot of repeat business. As far as your specific question about somebody wanting to be more aggressive, I don't have, and me suggesting go out and do this and then them coming back with those things done. I have very little experience with that.
Well, that's what it is,
Cause
a trainer kind of role. But
right.
I mean, do you have any bike fits working with trainers who are in that role of trying to, I guess, support and train cyclists who are interested in racing and that kind of thing? Is that something
I,
that even
oh,
happens?
Not we don't have a big, not really.
Okay.
I am in the loop. There's only a handful of cycling coaches out here specific to this area. I know all of them.
Okay.
I have fit some of their clients. But not necessarily an ongoing relationship with the coach, respective of or pertaining to the client. I do work at a physical therapy office. I
Mm-hmm.
teach yoga there, and I am also a patient of theirs. So I have worked with some of their patients
Okay.
who have come in for a injury related thing, maybe not related to the bike, but a bike fit could be, it's not going to hurt, you know? So it's never going
Yeah,
to hurt.
Never gonna hurt.
yeah.
Never going to hurt.
It sounds like Lindsay. It sounds like you've taken it to the next level, which we're proud of you for that.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about. Keep going and going and going. You're offering so much to the clients. It's fantastic. Just another kind of a question that we didn't really discuss initially is list the top three things that most cyclists come in that are out of whack or out of kilter. That these are the common things I see.
Um, the top three. I already have two. I'm thinking of the third.
We'll go with two.
Two is fine.
Okay. So, the number one thing I see most often is too much weight in the cockpit, in the handlebars, in the hands, hand numbness, and the inability or unawareness of anchoring in the saddle.
Yeah.
That is the number one. And this is where I was kind of goes back to what I was touching on earlier, that I can get that saddle, I can get their cleats and that saddle and the cockpit in the ideal position for that person based on their body and their goals. And they will still get back on that thing out of habit and lock up those elbows
Yeah,
and lean into the handlebars. And so this is why it's not just the
Yeah.
fit. It's got to be, there's got to be some languaging around. And I have this a brilliant exercise that I do at the end of the fit, where I teach them, I have them do this hinging and pushing off of the handlebars, and they hinge forward again. And I have them slow down, slower, 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 lighter, lighter in the hands. And after we've done that about 10 times, at the very last moment, when they are hinged forward and they're light in the hands and their core's engaged because they've had to do it or their face would have slammed into the stem, I say, do you feel your body? And they say, yes. I say, that's what you want to feel when you're out on the road.
yeah,
Now, so they can make that mind body connection.
yeah. You have to show it to them exactly. You have to show it to
Yeah,
them.
yeah. So that's the number one. And the other thing that I'm still learning about languaging around in better ways is gluteal engagement. It is blows my mind, and I can speak this from my own personal experience, that a person can go out and ride 100 miles and never use their glutes if
Yeah,
they don't want to.
yeah, yeah. We
You
we
know.
we called that in class. If you remember, we called it quad dominant cycling.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. So back to your first point, we always add one more thing to it. Is that now don't touch the bike. Bring it back here. When I was in Southern California, I had so many people that would call me, can you put my bike back into the when you I said, well, what happened? Well, John told me I looked too high, so I lowered the saddle. And then Sam
Oh.
told me I looked too, so I did this. And now it's all messed up. So
Uh-huh.
don't touch the bike. Bring it back here and we'll work on it. But yeah, that's
Right.
and I'll see Mike, what did you do to this thing? The saddle's here, the bars are up here, or, it's just all over the place. So anyway,
Yeah.
Sue, anything else? I think it was, I think we're really proud of Lindsay, what you've been able to do.
Thank
Did you
you.
want to mention your place that you're fitting at?
Yes, I work here in Little Rock, Arkansas, at a cycling store called Arkansas Cycling and Fitness. And that is on Bowman Road. We specialize in specialized brand
Okay.
bicycles. And I have a fitting studio in their loft upstairs. And it's just a great environment, great guys that work there. We've got the bike shop right downstairs. So if I need any parts or help, we've got mechanics right there on hand. It's just a great setup for me.
Yeah,
I'm very thankful.
I think this is a great little series. We have about 4 or 5 people that we've interviewed. A couple of people just took the course. They did their first 1 and 2 bike fits, their first and second bike fits, and you've been doing it for 3 years. So I think it's great to show what can be done if you just kind of stick with it and make it your own process. I think that's you're doing a fantastic job bike fitting. I would come see
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. If you're ever out this way, please, please do.
I
I would
will
love it.
maybe take you up on that one day when we're out there.
Okay.
Well, Lindsay, thank you for your time. Sue, any closing statement?
No, it's really nice to meet you. I'm
Y-
always pleased when we have, and I'm not going to be sexist here, but more women fitters.
Mhm.
It's there's not enough, given how many women are cycling out there, and
Yes.
it's good to see.
Okay, well,
Yes.
appreciate the
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you, and have a great weekend. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. Both of you. Appreciate it.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, one of our previous students that took a course about roughly 6 months ago, Christopher Biggs. Will you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dr. Christopher Biggs, and I live in Virginia, adjacent to our nation's capital in DC. And my professional background, well, I am first a retired Marine. I am a statistician and a psychologist, and I still practice in those fields. I'm still working, and I work for the National Guard, and I do bike fits by appointment Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So most weeks I'm working 7 days a week. And it's been my pleasure to have this opportunity, and I'll let you guide me from there.
Okay, so we got several questions I think the audience would be interested in learning a little bit more about. What did make you decide to take a bike fitting class?
So I've been doing bike fits of various descriptions since about 1973. My brother was a track racer, an Olympian in the '84 Olympics, and he was always so much faster than me. I was a cyclist. I was a cat too, but he was always much better. So I followed him around the world and was always there. And every time I step into the bike shop, I think of him. He's passed about 6 years ago, and it's more serendipitous for me to be able to continue that legacy.
Okay, so when you did decide to take a bike fitting class, how did you find us? Why did you choose us over the other number of bike fit education companies?
Well, you came by personal reference. A gentleman named Happy Friedman spoke very highly of you.
Yeah, Happy's a good friend of ours. One of the original, I would say, one of the original bike fitters in the world. I would say that. Anyway, when you registered for the course, you received the background information packet and accompanying worksheets. We designed this information to ensure that students with different professional backgrounds would have the same knowledge base when starting our course. Did you find that information helpful?
The information you sent in advance was probably the greatest aspect that encouraged me to continue to follow through with you because you gave the whole class in advance. Your homework forced, not forced, but allowed you to absorb the material to be able to then show that you could practice it and demonstrate it. And then when the course actually took place and we met face to face on Zoom, it only reinforced the concepts in a way that was collaborative and demonstrated the skills between a number of different individuals that all practicing the same aspect because no matter who you are, the other person never sees the world the same way, nor the bike fit the same way. And you gave a standard approach that was bar none the best and maybe the only show in town for being able to do this type of bike fit certification. And in the world we live in now, certification is the way to go. And I took the class to give my business partner the ability to put those certifications on his website that has proved to be pretty successful. I'm booked weeks out only by appointment.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we work hand in hand with IBFI, International Bike Fitting Institute, with Lee. And like I said originally in the statement, is that we have this homework booklet set up in a pre-course, let's call it, because we get students from such different, diverse backgrounds, from physical therapists to bike shop owners, bike shop mechanics, and people that just want to know something more about bike fitting. At this time, I want to just have Sue mention something about her passion, which helped set up this course several years ago, was virtual fitting versus in-house fitting. So, Sue?
Yeah, and actually it segues nicely into the next question for you, Chris. But this class is offered online, and all aspects of the course, the lectures, the bike fit experience labs, all of that is done over Zoom. And so I want you to comment on how you believe the online course experience compared to any of your in-person courses that you've taken.
Okay, so I had to go through the same learning experience during COVID, where the schools had to go through this change of mindset as to how they adapted to a world that was much of it online, and that's where learning took place. So I was doing substitute teaching in 3 local high schools here, while I was doing other stuff as well. But it's and trying to put together a course similar to this going forward, and we've had other conversations in the same manner. It is so extraordinarily complicated to try to put this material into an on the road show that I think you're actually more successful doing it in Zoom with a well crafted and a well sculpted methodology that starts from the ground up as to how you apply it, then how you demonstrate it by doing it multiple times with multiple students playing different roles. And you achieved just a high level of professional proficiency in a very short period of time, in many ways, much faster than you could have done it, even with a hands-on uh, application.
Okay, and there's a follow up there. So when you consider the course in overall, did you feel like you got everything that you were hoping to get out of the course when you completed it?
I did, but I come with a little bit of experience. I'm a Steve Hogg advocate out of Australia. Some of the writings that he's done, and Rick, you are well published as well. And I'm looking to do that in the future when I have more time to devote to such things. I am an academic with my own research. I'm looking forward to applying that to the realm of bicycle fitting, and that's that's kind of I have a vested interest that I want to see this grow. Some of the things though that I brought with me to the class is understanding the human body, the parts of the body, how the muscles fire, and to be able to share that with the students. I'm really lucky to have my own studio here that allows me to reinforce the principles you're teaching, the guidance for extensions and flexion that you use in an online role, but to be able to then to have the ability to palpate and to teach the individual. Many of the riders that you will be working with as customers may not have the ability to understand how their muscles are firing, and it becomes a real strong reinforcement when you're there with them in the studio with the ability to do hands-on, but you have to have a standard that you're applying the hands-on to. And that's what you reinforced for me. You gave me a much better and more thorough standard. And some of the research that you've done that I know that is proprietary and the work because of the work that you've applied over the many years that you've been doing the bicycle fitting, that gave me I think a personal edge. I really do.
Oh, great, great. And you came back last class and helped mentor some of the new students. Do you want to discuss that a little bit?
It was fun to come back to reinforce some of the ideas, and every every customer you work with, every rider, every student, every person that you experience in a focused area always sees the world differently. And to be able to share multiple perspectives, we were able to go into, I brought out my PT table, physical therapy table, and we went into much greater detail than we had done in the first class. And we had another one of the students was a very experienced bike fitter as well. And I feel as though that we just were able to get to a much higher ground in terms of shared information and how to apply this in the day-to-day settings in a retail atmosphere or a physical training atmosphere or a practical application atmosphere.
Oh, fantastic. Any closing words?
Thank you. You gave me a gift I will continue to use, and I owe you a lot. I look forward to many more sessions just like this.
All right, perfect. Dr. Biggs, we will talk to you later. Thank you very much. And
Hi, today we're visiting with Dr. Joe, who is one of our former students in our bike fitting class. And before we start asking questions about the class, we'd like you to introduce yourself, your professional background, and your interest in cycling in general, and what prompted you to enroll in our class.
Yeah. So I'm Joe Petrella. I am a chiropractor by trade. Been doing that for about 4 or 5 years now. I'm here in Arkansas, the northwest portion of it, and it's a very bike-centric place. So, being a chiropractor here, very focused on people's bodies doing well, a bunch of athletes keeping up with stuff, but seeing different bike injuries or just discomfort on the bike in general really had me leaning towards how can I address this a little bit more directly, and
Mhm.
that's where bike fitting kind of folded in with my professional goals. Um, moving moving to Arkansas from a place where I didn't feel safe riding my bike. Um, it was a culture shock to the number of bikes I saw on a daily basis, and so I got bit by the bug. Started out with a mountain bike. Did that for about a year. Didn't ride anything else but a mountain bike, and then after an injury, got a little case of the yips on my mountain bike and transitioned over to gravel. And right now, past few years, it's just been back and forth gravel or single track. Um, every once in a while, I get myself caught up on a road ride with my gravel bike, and I I work harder than I expect to as soon as I start those ones. But it's been really nice to have my hobby that is a passion that I get to think about intellectually, so I can try to make good decisions for people's riding lifestyle. Because finding you and this course honestly came down to convenience at the time. You had an online version. Everything that I could tell, all my certification would look the same no matter where I went, and so convenience definitely put you out ahead. But you also had the background of being in cycling and really being in the fitting world um, for quite some time. You were established. Nothing against me and someone new to the field, but I've always liked taking advantage of people with as much real life experience as possible, and figuring out how to fit that into my little head. So that it was honestly really easy finding you guys and being able to make that decision. Like, hey, I could probably do a weekend from my own home and make a big difference in my career.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
that's exactly how we started this thing. Is we heard so many medical professionals say that we would take a bike fitting course, but we I can't afford to take a day off for travel, a 3 day
Hmm.
course, and a day back. I got patients to work on, and you fit into that same thing.
Yeah.
So getting started, we also understood that we got two types of diverse fields. We got the kind of the medical professionals come in. They already know about anatomy, physiology, all of that. So why waste everybody's time in just going through that again? We got the bike shop mechanics that come. They know how to change out a crank in a matter of minutes. They
Yep.
can build a bike in a few hours. Complete different skill set. So we put together a background information packet, accompanying some videos and stuff. How did that work for you to get you up to speed for the confidence to start a brand new endeavor on a Friday afternoon or Friday morning?
That packet was awesome. I I don't mind getting my hands dirty. I do mind messing something up in a way that I can't fix it. And I'm good at bodies, not good at bikes as far as that goes. So it was really nice getting a succinct, just easy to digest and utilize immediately little packet so I could be comfortable with the few things I needed to do for a fit. It wasn't like I needed to break it down to the frame and start all over. Like having the confidence to change my seat post height and mess with my stem a little bit. just having that and not being overwhelmed was awesome to be able to take in the information.
Oh, great, great. Sue,
What?
thoughts on the class?
Oh, let me see. Oh, all right. So when you took the class,
Hmm.
did you? Everybody has an expectation, you know.
Yeah.
What am I going to get out of this? And so, as instructors, we're always interested in whether the students' expectations were met by our course. And you know, was there anything we didn't cover that you expected to have covered? In other words, did it
As,
work for you to get you where you wanted to go?
yes. I have a lot of confidence in my abilities. Just in general, if I put my mind to something, I can do it. But I didn't expect to be able to do a fit the same week of the course. And we finished the course on a Sunday, and I did my first fit that Tuesday. It was clunky, not refined by any means, but I got through all of it. I knew what I was looking for and what I was doing the whole time. It was just a little slower than I've gotten to be now. So you really put me off on the right foot, far exceeding the expectation there.
Yeah, we teach as you kind of alluded to, we teach a process-driven course. And
Hmm.
we teach you to do this first, this second, this third. And if you ever get stuck, you can go back one step and kind of recenter yourself. And it sounds like that's kind of where you did. The first ones are definitely clunky, and that's why
Yep.
we recommend people do something with your wife or your friend or somebody that is there to spend a few extra hours just so you get that. But after you got that first one done, where's your confidence now? Having a few under your belt.
It's very high. I think still the biggest thing is my concern with messing something up on the bike, not so much messing up the process. So yeah, carbon fiber's been a little scary for me, tightening things. But that's, I mean, realistically, that's my biggest fear during a fit is, am I going to get that right? My confidence in getting someone comfortable on their bike, being able to transfer that between their bikes or make those little tweaks just in a conversation too. Like, oh, you said that one thing. Let's look right there at that. And yeah, it's just been a game changer.
And one of your questions you ask, like most other people, students ask, is what tools do I need to get started? And
Hmm.
we cover that in great detail in the information packet that you get as well as the course.
Yeah.
We recommend and we show you the least amount of tools you need, the least expensive tools. You don't need to go out and buy an $18,000 bike fit machine on day
No.
one. You can get started with the basics, a very inexpensive software package, and then you can
Hmm.
build from there the way you do, the way you might think you want to expand your business.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually took the list of tools before class started and bought the necessary ones and peppered in a couple of these would be nice ones.
Yeah,
And
it wasn't
the
that
only
much.
thing no, it wasn't that much. The only thing I've changed is a couple of the cheaper entry level tools. Just one handle broke, and so I actually bought a good, more sturdy version so that I didn't have to worry about that again, and it was just a replacement issue. But yeah, not having to worry about being sunk in a debt hole just to get started was nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we also recommend if you're a brand new bike fitter and you take a bike fitting course, the first thing not to do is go out and rent a studio for $2,000 a month or whatever, because you don't have any clients yet. So just kind of
Yeah.
build it up locally. You can use a garage, use there's a number of things you can do. You can actually go to certain races and volunteer, get a tent, maybe put a table down. I think would be great
Hmm.
for what you could do is advertise your bike fitting, but do a little bit of chiropractic care on
Yeah.
the racers. I think that would be a. What are your thoughts on that?
That's one of my actually favorite things I've gotten to do.
Oh,
I actually did that in March. Worked a mountain bike cross country event for the weekend, had a tent up right across from the finish line. I had my all of my bike stuff up because I work as a chiropractor for Reform Chiropractic here in Bentonville, but I also own Aligned Bike Fits. It's just me, like you said, haven't rented out space. So being able to go to that tent and represent both was awesome because the chiropractic side, athletes loved it. And I got a little more knowledge uh, on how people are feeling just in their bikes or warm up, cool down, whatever it is. So it was nice to be able to have that kind of sounding board going back and forth. And then representing bike fitting, there was one kid, he convinced me that I could change his seat post because he said, "This is the issue." And I said, "It's probably your seat post. You're okay. I'm not going to change it before you race." And he went and did it anyway because I said probably just a couple millimeters. And he finished and he was like, "All right, I could see where a bike fit would be useful." So it was like one of those things like he's in Virginia. It doesn't benefit me at the end of the day,
yeah.
but for him to understand like a small difference makes a huge positive change was awesome. And it was just from being around the right place with a tent and the knowledge of how the bike factors into the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said that. We've had a couple videos on that. You get somebody at the right, Sue, you get somebody at the right saddle height, and we get them we get people. What we teach is put the people in the safe range, a safe joint
Hmm.
angle, range of motion range, and then kind of move it up and down in that range to see where they're most comfortable and can produce the most power if that's what they're after. And if you get them at where they're the most comfortable and you move that thing a millimeter, they can feel that.
Yep.
And there's people that will argue with us, but it happens over and over again. They can feel that 1 millimeter of difference.
Oh
And
yeah. There's a happy place.
exactly, exactly. And they say, "What did you do to this bike fit? It's horrible." Well, move it down a millimeter. Oh, perfect. So that happens. Sue, anything else?
Well, the last question is kind of redundant, but we're always interested in your interactions with other professionals in your field and and other individuals you might run into. Would you,
Mhm.
given your experience, and I can guess your answer, would you recommend our course to those individuals if they were interested in looking into bike fitting?
100% no questions asked.
And what would you tell them? One of the things we think sometimes is a bit of a barrier to people is the idea that our course is virtual.
Hmm.
And so, and I sort of understand that. And we have both lecture material that's video, virtual. We have sort of a classroom discussion that's virtual. And then we
Yeah.
actually do the bike fit exercises that you guys actually engage in virtually.
Yeah.
And so, if you think back on that, I mean, if you had to compare that to what you'd expect in a live course venue,
Hmm.
how would you compare the two?
I I think they are they're similar because, as we're walking through the fit, it's that process that I'm gonna learn how to get quicker and quicker and just everything's gonna be smoother. So as far as that goes, being virtual, getting that information, and then setting that up in front of you and the other people that were on the course was way more comfortable than I expected as far as that goes. But it wasn't tense, and tense may not necessarily be the right word, but there was a patience that was required with us being virtual and me being the hands-on one over here in the corner. That I think was unique as far as any virtual course I've ever taken. I've never had to do something in real time to be assessed and corrected, and it was really comfortable getting that feedback. Little simple things like I fit my hardtail, and it was one of those things I couldn't figure out quite how to get the seat post to the right height, and you're like, well, there's a dropper post, so maybe you put that up. Like those little things that I just wouldn't expect you to notice. Again, coming back to your experience, you were just like, oh yeah, no, I can see it because I have eyes. Put that up and then try again. So getting through all that was a lot easier than I might have expected, going back to expectation, but it was basically just a rough draft of what I did that next week, and it refined more the next month. So it's not that you're teaching us anything hard to reproduce. It is just shaking off all that new and figuring out how to do it comfortably. And I think like the biggest change from course to the first few fits to today is I can get through that process not breaking a sentence, and then I can also find those little hints of things that need to be addressed that shouldn't be a big deal, but I also don't want them to be a big deal. So it's been easy to practice and make better.
Yeah, and you've probably noticed that we don't like to just fit one thing. I know a lot of fitters have a la carte package, but what we've experienced is that the cleats will impact the pedaling style, which will
Mm-hmm.
the crank length impacts the saddle height, and vice versa. And what is the correct crank length, and the stem length, and the position of how much pelvic rotation. So everything kind of builds on everything else. You make one change here, and it affects everything down the chain,
Yep.
if you will. So we like to do the whole fit. And we're always telling people, we get a lot of questions. Can you just fix my this or that? Check my saddle height. Well, that's
Mm-hmm.
impacted upon, do you have the right crank length? That's gonna. So
Yep.
we like to do the full fit to make sure the people are on the bike safely. And I'm talking about joint safety, basically.
Yeah.
So many people have come in with destroyed knees that it's just impossible to keep count anymore on that. Sue, any closing thoughts?
No, except to say that I really enjoyed having you visit and interview with us. And as always, if you guys have questions or unusual circumstances that come up, or you want to tell us about a great fit that you did, we always love to hear about that.
Yeah, we're always here to
Perfect.
support our previous
Yep.
students.
Yeah,
So,
I appreciate that too. If it's useful at all, like recapping, just contacting you guys before that event that I did, just to get an idea of, am I wasting my time spinning my wheels for no reason? I can't put quite the words to it, but like, you didn't have to do that, and you did it. And even on top of answering the questions I asked, you had even further information. It was like taking a carbon copy of bike fitting use and you became mentor use suddenly. And it was just like, I don't know. That's not normal, and I appreciate that so much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Joe, for your time. And if, like Sue said, if you have any other questions, please let us know. We're always here to help you guys out.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Starting. Okay, one of our other students, we just finished the last class, Rob. Rob, tell us what your thoughts, give us a little bit of background about yourself, and tell us a little bit about the course that you took.
Yeah, sure. My name is Rob Scoggin. My background is operations and construction. Um, the reason I wanted to take a bike fitting class is that I had ridden for so many years and was riding in positions that were uncomfortable, and I thought that's just how it was. I had to get used to the bike, and after the first couple of fittings I did, it made such a huge difference in my riding. The amount of riding I could do, my fitness started improving. So um, I wanted to learn more about it so that I could help others have that same kind of experience. I did a little bit of research online for bike fit training. Wound up found bike fitness coaching, found your website, but also through some more research on the IBFI website, found you guys listed there as well. So that kind of reaffirmed, kind of gave some more credibility to your program. So then I reached out and enrolled in one of the classes.
Great, great. That's good to hear. No, you're a very good student when we did the course. When you register for the course, we have a kind of unique thing. We have a Zoom-based course, as you know. What did you think about the background material, the information packet we sent, and the homework assignments to get prepped for the course, which started on that next Friday?
The background material was great. I think you guys present it in a way that you don't have to be a total bicycle guru or a total fitness or physio guru. The materials make sense. It prepares you for what you guys are going to go over in the class. I found it really helpful.
Okay, and so your overall thoughts on the class? Did you get everything out of it that you were expecting?
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things I really do appreciate about the class is, I mean, in the session I was in, there was just the two students, but I definitely appreciate it being, very one-on-one, and you guys are very helpful with all kinds of questions and stuff. So, the format was great, and the whole experience was really interesting. Having the other student being in Iceland, and then one of the mentor students came on, and he was in Canada. The Lee was on from England, so it was really interesting.
Yeah, Lee's the current president of the IBFI. He wanted to kind of sit in to see how a Zoom-based course actually works, and he was. What was his comment? He said when he left, he had to go on holiday, and I think when he left, he said, "Now you guys listen to them; they know what they're talking about."
Yeah. He said you guys are in good hands; they know what they're talking about. So, yeah, that was really neat because like I said, when I first kind of started looking at it, I found you guys. And then, just by doing some research, found my way to the IBFI, and then having you guys listed there, and then having Lee show up on that first meeting was pretty neat.
Great. Have you applied to the IBFI yet, or are you going to?
Yeah, I'm going to. I registered with them as a non-certified membership, but I'll reach back out to Lee after I do some more fitting.
Yeah, you have the education part of it, and it's just I think they have so many fits that they want you to do. And talk about fits. Have you done any since the class?
So I've done. I've got a group of friends that do triathlons and Ironmans, and so I kind of went through a bunch of them that hadn't done fittings before, and Um, yeah, they were kind of in the same situation as me. They thought they were in a good position on the bike, were uncomfortable, but thought that's just how it was. And
Yeah.
after going through a couple of sessions with them, I was finding things like their seats were too high and too far back, so they had a lot of weight, on the front of the bike, and then they were having numb feet. That was pretty common. So like their cleat placement and their saddle height on all of them had to be adjusted.
Well, great. It sounds like you've taken the course and actually started applying some of your own little experiences to the fitting. So, last question, would you recommend the class to others?
Yes, definitely, definitely. If you're interested in bike fitting, even just to understand more about yourself and your riding and your interaction with the bike, is definitely good information.
Yeah, that's a good point. We get students that are doctorates in chiropractic and PT. We get bike shop owners, and we get people that are just want to find out. They might be retired now and just hey, let me find out more about bike fitting. So that's
Yeah,
great. Well, Rob, thank you for your time. Appreciate it, and we'll get this video out shortly. And good luck and keep fitting.
awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.